Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. Happy Tuesday, everybody. I hope your day and your week are going very well so far. Got a new day, which of course means a new NBA player prop video to share with you guys. But first, as always, people, please make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. It helps the channel grow, and it really does mean a ton to us. With a new day comes a new opportunity to go ahead and make some money. I have a little bit of a short pick slate today, only 3 picks in today's video, but pretty solid value on each of those 3 picks. But first, before we dive into today's picks, a quick little recap of how we did last night. And if you can't tell by the thumbnail, guys, we did cash last night. Now, it wasn't a major cash. We didn't win a ton of units, but overall, it was a profitable day. We gave out 6 picks. Unfortunately, Terry Rozier did not play last night, so that pick gets voided off of the pick record. But of the 5 picks that did get graded, we went 3 and 2 on those 5 picks. We went up 0.68 units, so a pretty solid performance. A pretty solid night with some pretty convincing cashes. I mean, a lot of these, like Nikola Vucevic almost cashed that over just in points alone. Harden cashed just in assists alone. The RJ Barrett one was a tough one. He had 39 points. So he cashed the over just in points, never mind rebounds and assists. So RJ Barrett probably was a wrong idea to go ahead and fade him when he's been playing so well lately. But I thought the Pacers defense would be able to slow him down a little bit. That being said, guys, overall, a really solid night. But I think we can do even better. Let's go ahead and build off of last night's success and going into today's video. Guys, 3 picks coming your way right now. Jumping right into the outlier screen, guys, our first pick in today's slate is coming from the Cavs-Celtics game, 7 p.m. tip-off. This one should be a really, really fun game. The 2 heavyweights of the Eastern Conference right now going head-to-head. We'll see how for real Cleveland is in this matchup with Boston. For this game, I'm going with Evan Mobley over 18.5 points plus assists. We're getting this from -115 on DraftKings. It's available on pretty much every sports book for varying odds. And the data is pretty solid on this prop. Evan Mobley has cashed his over in 8 out of 14 games so far this year for the Cleveland Cavaliers. That's a 57% hit rate this season, averaging 20.5 points plus assists per game. This is a line that Mobley is pretty familiar with cashing. Even last year, a 50% hit rate overall, which is not too bad. Not great, but not too bad. A 50% hit rate last year. 31 out of 62 games he cashed the over, averaging 18.79 points plus assists per game last year with the Cleveland Cavaliers. So overall, pretty decent numbers for him. Even going the last 20 games, dating back to last year, a 60% hit rate, averaging 21.1 points plus assists per game. Now, I will let you guys know, if you're looking for something a little on the safer side, the numbers, if you take a point off, is actually really, really good. However, the value there, -145 BetMGM, -160 on DraftKings, not great value. The value's not as good, I should say, but the numbers are better. 75% hit rate over the last 20. Even this year's number is 71%. So just to throw that out there for you guys, in case you're a little weary on this pick. If you literally just knock a point off, it does get the data gets a lot better. However, I'm sticking with 18.5 points because I do think he should be able to get at least 20 points plus assists in this matchup. But I always like to give you guys options there in the event that you do want to ride. Maybe you don't feel super confident. That is another option for you guys with this pick. The head-to-head data is actually more than okay. Mobley has cashed his over in 4 of his last 6 meetings with the Boston Celtics, a 67% hit rate, averaging 21.83 points plus assists per game versus the Boston Celtics. If we narrow it down to just the last 5 meetings, he's cashed the over in 4 of the last 5. And with a couple of big performances, last time they played back in May of last year, obviously that's back in the playoff series, he had 33 points and 4 assists in that game. He actually was pretty successful in that playoff series overall versus Boston. And looking at the matchup data for this year, the Celtics are 12th in points allowed and 12th in assists allowed overall. But versus power forwards, which we know Mobley plays a lot of minutes, especially when he shares the court with Jarrett Allen, the Celtics are one of the worst teams defensively in the NBA against the power forward position, 30th in points allowed and 28th in assists allowed to opposing power forward. Now, Mobley does play sometime at center, where Boston's been very solid defensively this year. But again, when he shares the court with Jarrett Allen, which is where the majority of his minutes come from when he's sharing the court with Jarrett Allen, he plays power forward. The matchup looks to be pretty solid. The head-to-head data is pretty solid. Overall, a very solid prop, and for -115 odds, too, you really can't beat that value. All right, guys, our second prop in tonight's slate. We're moving on to the Hornets-Nets game, 7:30 p.m. tip-off. We're going with Cam Johnson of the Brooklyn Nets over 22.5 points plus rebounds plus assists. We're getting this one for -125 odds on DraftKings. This is a DraftKings exclusive prop. You can only find this one on DraftKings, but the data is really solid on this prop as well. A 57% hit rate so far this year for Cam Johnson on this over. 8 out of 14 games he's cashed it, averaging 24 points plus rebounds plus assists per game. To narrow it down a little bit, he had a little bit of a rough start. 4 of his first 5 games he failed to cash the over, but over the last 10, if we go ahead and narrow that, we can go ahead and show you guys that. Over the last 10 games, 70% 70% hit rate. 7 of his last 10 games, he's cashed the over. And to narrow it even more, 7 of his last 9 games, he's cashed the over, averaging 24.8 points plus rebounds plus assists per game. So overall this year, a 57% hit rate. But over the last 10 games, he's really started to increase those numbers, 70% hit rate over the last 10. And the head-to-head data is not a lot to go off of, but the last time he played the Charlotte Hornets back in November of last year, he did slightly cash the over, ever so slightly, with 15.6 rebounds and 2 assists in that matchup against the Hornets. Overall this year, Charlotte, not a good defensive team, but not terrible in some categories. They are 20th in points allowed. However, they are top 10 in rebounds allowed and 19th in assists allowed. So kind of a up and down team in those categories. However, specifically versus the power forward position, which is where Cam Johnson plays, the data is really good in our favor. The Charlotte Hornets are 27th in points allowed to opposing power forwards, giving up 26.2 points per game. They're 15th, middle of the road in rebounds allowed, giving up 10.5 rebounds per game to opposing power forwards, and 26th in assists allowed, giving up 5.5 assists per game to opposing power forwards. So really good matchup data there. Again, not a big sample size in terms of the head-to-head against the Hornets, but the last time they played, he did cash the over. And again, over the last 10 games, a 70% hit rate, averaging 24.8 points plus rebounds plus assists per game. So overall, a very solid spot for Cam Johnson. I forgot to mention the units, guys. I'm going to throw 1 unit on the last play and 1 unit on this play as well. I've got 1 pick left in today's video, guys, but before we get to that, please make sure to drop a comment down below if you made it this far to the video. We just passed the 6-minute mark, so go ahead and comment 6 down below if you're still watching at this point in the video. Again, I appreciate you guys, as always, for watching through the entire video. It really means a lot to me. Comment 6 down below if you're still watching, and make sure, if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button, hit that like button. We have so much great content coming out on the channel between myself, Ev, and Trey. NFL, NBA, so much great stuff. College football, a lot of great content. We've been crushing the NFL. I went 12-2 last week on my single bets. We went 3-0 on teasers. We did hit a parlay plus 289, so really, really solid week. I don't have the units right in front of me, but we definitely won over 10 units this past week, and that's not bullshit. That's legit. We won over 10 units this weekend. It's all in the video, guys, and the best part is, all these picks are free. So I gave out all those winners last week, and they were 100% free. Every pick we hand out on this channel are 100% free. So please subscribe if you don't. It's free money, guys. We're basically handing you guys free money. If you're not subscribing, you're just missing out. All right, guys, our third and final pick in today's slate. We're targeting the Jazz-Lakers game, 10:30 p.m. tip-off. I'm going Anthony Davis of the Los Angeles Lakers over 29.5 points. Getting it from -105 on FanDuel and DraftKings, so you have a couple options there. We're going to throw 1 unit. Each of these 3 plays will be a 1-unit play in today's video. And again, the data pretty solid on this prop for Anthony Davis. A 67% hit rate so far this year for Anthony Davis. 8 out of 12 games he's cashed the over, averaging 31.08 points per game this year. So literally, as long as he hits his average in points per game, he will cash the over. We need 30 points, all we need from him in this matchup. To narrow it down to the last 10 games, a 60% hit rate, averaging 30.2. And over the last 20 games dating back to last season, a 65% hit rate, 13 of his last 20. He's cashed the over, averaging 29.9 points per game over his last 20 games. Again, that also dates back to the end of last year. And the head-to-head data is not absolutely fantastic, but the last time these two teams played back on Valentine's Day of last year, Anthony Davis had a massive game, 37 points in that win against Utah. And looking at those previous misses, those 2 misses there, he just didn't shoot the ball well. I mean, this one, he had 15 points back on January 13th, 15 points. He shot 5 for 21 from the floor. That's not going to get the job done in this game. He only took 14 shots. He did shoot 79% from the floor, finished with 26 points. Just didn't play enough. He only played 29 minutes in that game. It was a blowout win for the Lakers. Looking at AD so far this year, 35 minutes per game. He's also had a couple days off. The last time they played was November 16th. So he's had a couple days off going into this game now. He's averaging about 35 minutes per game. He's played at least 25 minutes in every single game this season. Only 1 game so far this year he played less than 30. So he's playing a ton of minutes, ton of volume there for AD. And the key thing is he's taking a lot of shots, almost 19 shots per game this season. He's shooting about 56% from the floor as well. So the volume is there. The usage data is where we need it to be for this matchup. And finally, guys, look at the right side of the screen for the matchup data here. You see that Utah Jazz are 26th so far this year in points allowed, giving 118.5 points per game this season to opposing teams. So really good matchup there. The Jazz not very good defensively versus centers, which where Anthony Davis primarily plays. They are 20th. The Utah Jazz are in points allowed, give up 20.9 points per game to opposing centers. That is bottom 10 in the NBA. The last time he played them, he had a massive game, 37 points. I don't see why he can't go ahead and do this again. I will mention he is a game-time decision with a left foot injury, but this is always a situation in the NBA. All the stars, they always are game-time decisions. The key thing also to realize is that Walker Kessler's out for the Jazz, which is a big deal because Walker Kessler is their rim protector. With him being out, I think Anthony Davis will absolutely cash the over as long as he plays. There's also a couple injuries for the Lakers that could present more opportunities for Anthony Davis. As long as he plays, I think he will probably play. Look at all the injuries for the Lakers. They got a lot of guys out right now, a lot of game time decisions, but I think Davis should be good to play. So overall, a very good spot. Guys, those are all 3 picks for today's NBA slate. I apologize for not having a ton of picks. Just didn't really love today's slate that much. Those were the 3 picks I found the most value in. So those are the ones I'm going to go ahead and share with you guys. I'll be back tomorrow with another NBA player prop video. But until then, guys, I hope you're all winners. Enjoy your Tuesday. Let's go ahead and make some money.